Well, hello. It's so good to be here for this fireside conversation with Ese Ntefon, founder of Scent of Heaven, a new Christian soy-based homeware company creating candles and wax melts that point people to Jesus. After years in a variety of roles, most recently as a youth worker in South London, Ese is stepping into a new season of entrepreneurship. And we are going to explore what inspired her to pivot into business, the challenges she's faced, and the lessons she's learned as she launches Scent of Heaven this year. It's so good to see you, Esther. How are you doing today?
Hi, Matt. Thank you so much for having me. I'm doing great. Thank you.
Well, fabulous. There's loads to delve into here, and I'm really looking forward to finding out more about this journey. And let's just launch straight in. Like, tell us about the journey that led you here, and what experiences have shaped the desire in you to start Scent of Heaven. Tell us about it.
Oh, I'm so happy to do so. It's my favorite story. I was on YouTube as these stories start. I was on YouTube in, I believe, 2023. And I was just flicking through, as you do sometimes, just scrolling through videos. And I stumbled upon an account where they were chatting to this lady in America, and she runs a business called Sunflower or something, Black Sunflower. And she was just talking about how she began her business, some of these rags to riches stories, started with $100 and I made this, etc., etc. But what struck me, it wasn't the money that she had made, although the money sounded great. It was the fact that you could make such beautiful items with wax. There was just something about it that caught my heart. And I just began to research how to make candles that would look like that. And I got this really pretty notebook, which I actually have right here. So I bought this in 2023 and I just started writing ideas. I made sketches. I did logo designs. I was just like, all these ideas are just flowing out of me. And I really believe it was God. And even the name Scent of Heaven came. And I was just like, oh my gosh, writing everything down. And I even came up with the names of my first candles. Like it was just this one of those experiences that are just God. There's no other way to explain it. And so I did all of that and I began to research what it would take to get into candle making. And then I realized that it was the wrong timing because at the time I lived with a family and it just would not have worked. That would have meant using the kitchen. It was quite a small space. And so I reached out to where I was working and asked if I could use their kitchen. And they, talked about it a little bit. And then they said, no, insurance, I mean, candles, fire, etc., completely understandable. And so I realized that it was a God idea, but it wasn't the timing for me to put it into place. And so I just sat on it until this year, when I just knew God had made it very clear that I'd be leaving my job. And so I began to talk to him. Okay, God, so this is scary. What am I going to do when I leave this job? And he reminded me, remember that idea I gave you 2 years ago? And so that's when Scent of Heaven began to properly be birthed. And so that was February this year when all of that began to be put into works.
You mentioned timing there, and so
Mm.
you've been sitting and this vision, this passion has been stirring in you for a while, but yet you've been having to live out your day-to-day job and with all
Yes.
this kind of bubbling away in your heart and in the background. How have you managed to do that over a period of time?
Oh, that's a very good question. I think because I was also very passionate about what I was doing, which has been youth work for the last 3 years. I was also very passionate about it. I just love talking about Jesus. And so getting to do that as my day job has just been the best thing ever. And especially to young people who are very close to my heart. So I think having the passion there kept me going. So I wasn't resenting what I was doing. It was actually, I still get to serve you, God, in this regard. And I really feel like this is your idea that you've given me. So when it's the right time, there was just something about the idea that I knew would come to pass. I just didn't know when it would. So yeah, I just had to continue to stay loving my job. And yeah, actually loving it really helped. So yeah.
And I think you've described something here as well already in this idea that there's a sense of calling, there's a sense of God at work
Mm,
behind this, rather than it just being a nice idea or a hobby that you could you could fill some of your spare time with. But
yeah.
are there any things that you've learnt when it comes to discerning something of when God's in something, or whether
Mm,
it's just a nice idea, or maybe something you've eaten for lunch, for example.
yeah. So I've had many nice ideas. So I have been many things in my life. I've been a freelance photographer. I've been, yeah, this, that, and the other. I've had many things that I've started and then stopped because they were my idea. And one thing I've realized is that when it's my idea, I run out of steam very quickly. But there's something about having, it's not a force or anything. It's just like there's just God is behind this thing and God is backing it. And there's just something in that that just gives you that extra push to keep going, even when it's very hard, even when it looks absolutely impossible. But when you know that God's in it, it's just like, with God, nothing's impossible. That's what Jesus said. So, I mean, yeah, when he's in it, it's just you can keep going, basically. And then when it's your idea, I find that I find it easier to stop. So, yeah.
And certainly my experience of just sensing or discerning God's
Mm,
leading and his voice and his guidance, there's that internal perseverance and
mm,
passion to keep, that kind of drives the perseverance that's internal.
yeah.
I've seen, and I wonder whether you've experienced external as well, external
Mm.
encouragement, external validation to, maybe from different places. I wonder if that's been your experience, and what can you tell us about that?
Yeah, most definitely. So I actually live with my family and my parents they're pastors, and they've been, yeah, pastors my whole life. But they are such an amazing encouragement and my entire family. The second I told them, I really feel like God has told me that this is the time to start, everyone was just hands on deck. Like, what do you need us to do? Do you need us to get out of the kitchen while you're making them? Okay, we'll get out of the kitchen. Like it was very much just that this is God's idea and we really see the passion in you. And so we're just going to give you the space to do it. And I also had my parents, when I had my first order of materials come in, I had them pray over me and the materials as well, just to bless the business and kind of help birth it forward. And just having them they dropped everything that they were doing at that time and just stopped just to pray for me. And so for me, I think my family being on board and just backing this with everything that's in them has been one of my greatest sources of just comfort and strength. Even in the hard times I can go and cry to them when things aren't going the best, and it's just been really amazing. But also some of my customers as well, some of the things that they'll say to me, and I'm just like, Lord, like this is so you. One of them talked about how she felt like one of my candles would be able to bring someone out of a place of, spiritual slumber. And I was like, a candle? When you just like, I didn't I think it's a lovely candle, and I really do believe that God's in it. But just to hear someone else say that and to hear other people reiterate and echo the same thing has just been just amazing. So yeah, there's my encouragements.
So internally, you've talked about passion, but then also the external validation. People encourage you, people around
Mm.
you rallying around this vision, which has been fabulous. And I just wondered, what about scripture or prayers or anything like that that God's specifically spoken to you through that? And how has that been part of the journey for you as well?
Yeah, so funnily enough, people laugh at this, but I call God my CEO because I mean he helped me start the business, right? He gave me the idea. So what I do is, and I got this idea once again off YouTube. This lady, she has meetings with God regarding her business. And so I started incorporating that into my life. And I remember the first few meetings that I've had with him, they're all kind of written in my notebook. So I'm just gonna refer to it. One of the first meetings, there was a verse that I really believe that God spoke to me at that time. And it was just absolutely what I needed, whilst, actually even before starting the business and properly launching it. It was from Isaiah 30, where it just talks about God waiting for you to come to him. So I'm just going to read it. From verse 18, it says, so the Lord must wait for you to come to him so he can show you his love and compassion. For the Lord is a faithful God. Blessed are those who wait for his help. He will be gracious if you ask for help. He will surely respond to the sound of your cries. He will be with you to teach you. You will see the teacher with your own eyes. Your own ears will hear him. Right behind you, a voice will say, "This is the way you should go." And so for me, that is just, when you're running a business, a lot of things just feel like you're reaching and groping in the dark. So certain bits of that passage just was so highlighted to me. Ask for his help. He will surely respond. He will teach you. Your own ears will hear him. He will say to you, "This is the way that you should walk in." And that for me has been such an anchor when there's been times when I just, I might have an idea and it's just not, there's something that's just not happening the way that I want it to. Just being able to go back to him and say, "Lord, you said that you teach me, help." And that's just been amazing. But also John 15, which is one of my life passages, that just talks about Jesus being the true vine and us needing to abide in him. If not, we can't bear any fruit. And so that for me has been such an anchor as well, because I literally have to abide in him to be able to continue what I'm doing. So yeah.
It's fascinating just to hear an insight into that. And often when you're pioneering new ground as an entrepreneur, there is no, by definition, it's a blank canvas. There's nothing there. You're pioneering,
Mm,
you're charting new territories. There is no blueprint. There are maybe some
yes.
principles that you can learn from others who have trodden a similar path, but on a different,
Mm,
different time or different trajectory. But um, ultimately, you're describing a daily, weekly dependence on God for His
yes.
direction, for His guidance by the Holy Spirit.
Mm. Yeah, I have to. That's something I've realized in my life. And I think being a youth worker helped me get that and grasp that. I think before becoming a youth worker, and I didn't realize this, I was very kind of self-dependent. Yes, I love talking about Jesus. He had changed my life. I had an amazing testimony, but there was still something of that, "Oh, I can do this on my own." And then getting into youth work, I quickly realized I could not do this on my own. I very much need Jesus, and I need to lean on him for everything. So yes, he is my lifeline, and he's the lifeline of the business as well.
Just give us a little practical insight into what that looks like. Turning spiritual vision into practical
Mm,
business decisions. So there's
yes.
everything with running a business from branding, pricing, operational, everything to make it happen.
Mm,
What's some of that journey look like? So can you give us a little insight?
yes, of course. Oh gosh, it's been many months of this. So I began with researching, very heavy research. I think I realized that if I'm going to put a bunch of money into this, I need to make sure that it's something that will work well, something that's sustainable, something that people will actually be able to buy into, because I've got the pricing right, I've got the way that I'm actually, yeah, selling forth the idea right, I've got my vision and the my story right as well. So I really had to do a lot of research. I looked at other people's businesses, I looked at competitors, I looked at, Christian businesses and non-Christian businesses, because obviously I'm coming from the Christian angle, but non-Christian businesses also have a lot to teach me, or had a lot to teach me. So I started with a lot of research, and I reached out to people that I knew had businesses as well. So I think about maybe four people. One of them is I think I can't remember what the name of it is, but I think CEO of a charity. And so I just reached out to so many people that I knew, people in my network that had gone before me, and just asked them a whole bunch of questions. What should I do? What should I not do? Please help me. I'm about to start this thing. And just being able to listen to the wisdom before I started doing anything, physically, was so helpful. So yeah, lots of research is so essential when it comes to business. Sometimes we have great ideas and we just jump into it, and you're not prepared for the things that could come against that. And so I really think that it's so good to know what the pitfalls are in a business, what the highlights are, and so just having a good, well-rounded picture of what that business would look like. Yeah. So research, research, research.
In terms of practicalities, what would you say has been one of the biggest challenges you've faced so far?
Oh, finances. Yeah, definitely finances. I think this whole thing has just been a faith journey. And I've had to depend on the Lord. Things weren't exactly the prettiest financially for me and my family when I started, but I just said to the Lord, Lord, I know you're in this. Please, I need you to provide. And he really has. I remember there was a point where I was quite stuck because I needed to do certain things and they were very important, but I just didn't have the finances in place. And one of those things was to lock down my business idea, which just felt like, oh my gosh, I need to get this name like locked down ASAP. It's such a good name. And I can't believe that in 2 years it's not been taken. Thank you, Lord. But I just knew it needed to happen, but I just didn't have everything in place. And I sat down and I looked at my laptop and I just said, Lord, you know that I need this money and I need this help. And the day after I was meeting with someone and he basically gave me the money for everything that I needed at that time. And it was just, like, and there's been so many more stories like that of just people messaging me, oh, hey, I just really feel like blessing the business, always at a time when I've needed it. And so that's just been phenomenal. Yeah.
Have there been any other God surprises? You mentioned in terms of provision. You've also
Yes.
mentioned in terms of people who've given you feedback on the
Yes.
products as well. What other surprises stood out to you as you think back?
Oh, I think there's been so many. Okay, let me try. Okay, one of my favorite surprises is one of my customer, and this just has always meant so much to me because anyone that runs a business knows that reviews are basically gold. And so I woke up one morning to a message from one of my customers, and she basically said, I woke up this morning and I've just had the chance to smell all your candles again. And I just really wanted to leave reviews on all the products. And I just really and she wrote, and sometimes you just expect a few words. But she wrote paragraphs for them. And I was just like, oh my goodness. So that for me has just been just the fact that someone feels so just connected to the candles, connected to what I'm doing, connected to the message, that they would do something like that just out of their own time. Time is so precious in this world. And so for someone to give that, to do that has been, yeah, that was a huge surprise. It was very random, but yeah, it was beautiful.
One of the challenges that entrepreneurs can often find is, you've been carrying this vision and you
Mm,
reflect on it, thinking about it, journeying with it
mm,
for maybe, well, years, but months,
mm,
certainly, but years as well. And one of the challenges can be in terms of articulating it. So you know where you want to get to, but in terms of
mm.
communicating it to others,
Yes.
sometimes it can be a challenge to kind of succinctly get across what you're trying to do. Have you found something similar, and how have you crafted, the vision or the thing that you're going after with the business?
Yeah. So with Scent of Heaven, I think because I already knew what I wanted it to be, I wanted it to be a business that pointed people to Jesus. That has kept me grounded. So, when other opportunities have come and people have said, well, maybe you can kind of tweak down the message a little bit. No, my main message or my main point was that I wanted to point people to Jesus. And if the business isn't doing that very clearly, then that's pointless to me. And I know that I'm going to lose steam in 2 seconds because that's just who I am. And so I think if you know what your main point is, what are you trying to achieve with your business? And, if you have setbacks, if you have people trying to come against that, is your foundation strong enough? And so I think knowing what your business is will help you to craft the story around it. So I'm able to tell the same story to people over and over again because it's true. Like I know that it's true. It's my life, it's my business. I have passion for it. And it's not something that I'm trying to make up to, I don't know, impress people, sound pretty. No, this is what the business is. It's a way to create, beautiful things that point people to Jesus. So yeah, I think knowing what you are, knowing who you are, knowing what your brand is very helpful to stay grounded.
And have you found any particular process that helped you get to that point?
Yeah, I think it's always been clear, to be honest. Even to the point where there was a time when I was very, very stuck on my packaging design. So I had this thing in mind and I knew, my personality, I like things a certain way. And what I designed first just didn't feel like it. And I knew it wasn't it. And so, my response is always to go back to God. So I was like, Lord, please help. Anyway, so I got this, it was like I woke up one morning and the first thing I saw was a picture of what the label should look like. And I like sprinted to my laptop. I just put it down. I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. That's what I was waiting for. This is what I was looking for. And so, yeah, I think that's usually my modus operandi to just ask God for help. And yeah, he's always just made everything seamlessly fit into what I originally had seen. So yeah, I don't know if that's going to be the same case for everyone. So I'm not promising dreams from God for your business, but hey, maybe. You never know.
That's awesome. So, okay, just thinking about, I mean, we think about risk, thinking about
Mm,
courage, thinking about stepping out of comfort
mm,
zones. What sort of fears did you, if any, did you face when
mm,
pivoting into this, out of a youth work, paid youth work, to
mm.
this? What have been some of the challenges you've had to face?
Yeah, obviously, I think the first one is the inconsistency of the money. So, it's dependent on me going to events, it's dependent on me doing things that, will get me to that point, or just marketing very well on social media and marketing my website well. So I think it's the fact that it's taken or is taking a lot more work to see results. Obviously, when you're in a steady job, I work this certain amount of hours and I get paid this certain amount every month. And so there's that comfort in the steadiness. And so going from that, comfort zone of having regular income to saying, okay, I'm going to walk into something that I don't know when the income's going to come. I don't know how it's going to come. But also, I think I've had to do it wisely as well, because I'm also I'm trying to get a part-time job while this first year of building is going on, just to be wise in terms of getting that consistency of income. So I think one has to ask themselves, yeah, like how how much or how far am I willing to go with this? And how is there something I need to do to make sure this is a wise thing, or sorry, this is done wisely? So not just saying, oh, I'm just going to leave everything. I'm never going to do another job. I'm just going to go into business. Maybe that might work for someone, but I know for myself, I'm going to have to do it a different way. So I think just checking your life and saying, okay, how do I need to do this? Yeah, I hope that answered the question.
What's kept you going in that place of uncertainty, really? Have you found anything that's
Mm,
been particularly nourishing, life-giving for you?
yeah, I think just having those meetings with God, I try and do them monthly, and just having that time of just slowing down and saying, okay, Lord, what do you have for the business this month? Or Lord, I'm really feeling stuck in this regard. Could you please help me figure out what I'm going to do? So I think just staying plugged into him has been really, really, really helpful for me. Yeah. So yeah, just going back to him constantly and having those meetings, having those checkups. There were times when I was super distracted and, only focusing on the business more than I was spending time with him. And, he would be like, so I think, yeah, just keeping plugged into him has been so essential. Yeah.
It's a fine line, isn't it? Because you sense God leading you into this and setting this,
Mm,
and so setting something up always requires lots of work, lots of time,
mm.
but at the same time, it's not all on us because it's
Yes.
ultimately, I love the way you describe God as your CEO. So you keep that balance because you've got to keep going. How do you get
Mm.
that balance right?
Yeah. So the deal that me and God have is that I do my bit, he does his bit. So I need to do my research. I need to check out, what's going on, what Christian programs I might need to check out and see if they, have spaces for vendors, etc., etc. So I need to do my bit. I need to keep up my marketing on social media. I need to make sure that I'm getting the word out when I talk to people. Oh, you really like lavender? Oh, one of my candles that I have, is lavender and chamomile. So just consistently making sure that I am getting the word out. That's my bit. And then, God does his bit, which I can't see, but I need to do my boots to the ground work of talking to people and reaching out and making sure that Scent of Heaven is on people's minds. So yeah, that's how I do the demarcation. I do my part. he does his part. God is not a genie in a bottle. He is amazing and he's so kind and he'll provide. However, we still need to do our own bit. If I just sat down and just said, oh, well, Lord, you're just going to give me everything, then yeah, I wouldn't be here today. So yeah.
Ese, I think you have one or two of your products with us on the call
Yes.
today. Can you tell us a
Yes.
little bit about them?
Yes, of course I can. Okay, so when people order our products, so I hope you can see this properly. There
Yeah.
might be a bit of a glare.
Yep.
So this is our Breath of Heaven candle, and all our candles come with a little explanation at the top of what the candle means. You might not, yeah, you probably will definitely
Yes.
not be able to
No,
read
we can
that,
see it.
but okay, yeah. So it comes with that, and then it comes with some candle care instructions as well. So the Breath of Heaven candle, I'm just going to show you it over here. So that's the front, and then that's the design as well. So
Yeah.
there's a marbling on the top,
Yeah.
and it just smells so good. So yeah, so the Breath of Heaven candle, this is to just remind people that when Jesus comes into our lives, he washes us and makes us new. So it's fresh linen scented and it's breath of heaven because yeah, God just breathes on us and makes us as new. And so yeah, that's one of my candles. And we also have four other main signature scents. So we'll be having seasonal scents as well. But one of my absolute favorites and a lot of people's favorites is the Love Note candle. And this is it over here. And it's just absolutely beautiful. It's black cherry scented. And this one just is a reminder that although we try and search for love in so many places, Jesus came to give us the ultimate love note when he died on the cross for us. So every single one of my products are just repoint people back to Jesus. And I'm just going to show one more as well,
Yeah.
because this one is, I always say all of them are my favorites, but this one's my absolute, absolute, absolute favorite. It's the Secret Place candle. And it's cocoa butter scented, and I put it on during my times with God because it's basically meant to be a reminder of the sweetness of spending time with God and the fact that no one has to see you spending time with God. It's not about pride, it's not about show of religiosity. It's the fact that actually this is our maker and we get to spend time with him, and that is the most beautiful, sweetest gift. And so that is the Secret Place candle to remind people of that.
I love it, Essa. You put so
Thank you.
much work, effort into this, and it's so
Thank you.
inspiring just to see how God has been leading you, big picture, but also day to day, week to week, as your CEO. It's
Yeah.
amazing to see that and to hear that how that's worked out. Thanks for showing us those. They look
No
phenomenal.
worries.
And
Thank you.
in the links, I want to link to your website and tell people we'd love people to pick these up and
Thank
connect with
you.
you. You talked about seasonal products and looking ahead.
Yes.
Like how far in advance are you thinking at the moment as you're thinking about Scent of Heaven and planning ahead?
Yeah, so I mean, as of right now, because I'm leaving my current job in just a couple of days. And so there's just certain things that I've had to kind of put on hold and just say, okay, I'm gonna have to tackle this when I leave. So I already have the scents in place and the fragrances for our Christmas candles. And I'm just gonna tell you guys the scents because they are so fun. But we are gonna have one candle called Family Season, and it's apple and cinnamon scented, which is gorgeous. And we also have In the Manger, which is frankincense and myrrh scented, which is super special. So those are coming up at Christmas time. And then over Easter, we'll be thinking about, scents to link into that. Obviously, the Love Note candle is the perfect Easter candle because it just talks about Jesus's death on the cross. But then other scents will be brought in and everything will always just be about the Lord. So yeah.
There'll be people watching this essay who are inspired by your example of courageous faith. It's a step at a time, but also as you look back, you think, "Goodness, God's brought me on a on a bit of a journey here." But love
Yes.
to know what would you say to someone who feels a spark of vision or is carrying a passion but hasn't necessarily been able to take a step yet?
Oh, well, like Nike, just do it. I would say, okay, I would say, first of all, Habakkuk 2:2 talks about writing the vision, making it plain so that you'll be able to run with it. So obviously, contextually, God was talking to, the specific person. However, just applying that, I would say write it down. I bought the book as a very special book. I made sure it was a really pretty book so that I'd be inspired to write into it. So maybe you might need a cute book just to help you get the ideas down. But I would say write down your ideas and make sure that you believe in that idea. And then find out from the Lord, Lord, is this timing? Is this the right timing to go for this thing? And then if it is a green light, just go for it. He will provide. I am someone that likes to have everything in place, and and I'm an ex-perfectionist. And so, running into something without, having all those finances in place, it was absolutely terrifying to me. But oh my gosh, how the Lord has provided. And so, we don't have to always see the full picture or see the end goal. It's just about going with him. And funnily enough, there's something that I wrote in my journal the other day where I was saying, Lord, I see why you don't show us the full picture, because you want us to trust in you. And so part of it is just that trust as well. And just saying, okay, God, if you really feel like this is a God idea, then God, I know you're going to help it come to fruition. So yeah, write it down and do it.
And equally, there are those who are desperate to get moving, but just can't work
Mm,
out how to get moving. They're in a waiting period. They feel like they're in a
mm,
holding pattern. So they're a bit further along, and yet they still aren't walking in the vision that they've been carrying. What would you say to them?
mm.
What would you say
Yeah.
to encourage people to keep persevering?
Yeah. So, I mean, I had to wait 2 years before I could actually see any of this come into fruition. All of it for 2 years was just an idea in a book. And so I would say just keep thinking about that idea, keep mulling over it, never let it die. That is what I would say. Don't let the good idea die. Don't let the God idea die. Keep thinking about it. Tell people that you trust about it as well, so that they will remind you not to let it die. Because I had a friend that would say, oh, so remember that business you told me about? Like, when's it going to happen? And I'd be, oh, like, I know it's just not the right time. But they would keep talking about it. And yes, I knew it wasn't, just because they said it, it wasn't the right time to go for it. But it was a reminder that, hey, this is a good idea and you need to never forget it. So I would say keep it on your mind, and yeah, keep it on your mind. And when the time is right, it will be clear, I think.
Yes, it's been wonderful just to hear from you. If people want to
Thank
connect
you.
with you, where can we send them? How should they connect with you?
Okay, so you can find me on Instagram. I'm on Instagram quite a lot at Scent of Heaven UK. And so that's all together, Scent of Heaven UK. And then we also have a website, www.scentofheaven.co.uk. So you can find me on both of those. But if you'd like to interact with me, Instagram is the best place to go.
And as people are listening, how can we get involved? What is it that you're particularly needing or looking for at the moment?
I would say I love it when people call me and say, there's this event going on, and I think they need vendors. Would you like to apply to that? Can I send you the information? So, if anyone would like to do that, they see a Christian event going on or even a non-Christian event going on, just I would love for people to send that my way. My email is scentofheavenuk@gmail.com. So people can also email me on there and send anything that they see forward. Or I would say praying for the business, but also just promoting on social media. Just putting one of our products or one of our posts on a story goes so far. And I don't think people sometimes know how much that does for a business. So, yes, posts or reposting things, and also just, yeah, sending any encouragement that you have my way.
Fabulous, Ese. Thanks so much for your time
Thank you.
today. God bless you and your vision and
Thank
as you step
you.
out. And yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
Ese.